goblins and blue-black merfolk.
Right. So the blue-black merfolk list is basically nearly a card-for-card Saito version of the list, and the goblins list is the Chris Osinki list, which, if I remember correctly, Chris was playing with green. Is that correct?
Yes,
So,
he is Tygus.
Right.
So he's going to need to bring in his Croson Grips, probably.
Did you see my top?
Because
You didn't.
Chris has engineer plates.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Which kind of seem odd to me because goblins are such a small portion of the field, and I feel like the reason Plague is a good sideboard card is because it doubles up as hate against goblins and merfolk. And if you're merfolk yourself, it seems like it's kind of like a narrow card. Like I've never really liked playing sideboard cards for just one deck. Like I like having them happen to be hate against other things.
Particularly against a deck that, you know, in a format that's so diverse. I mean, there are obviously other targets that can be hit by an engineered plague, but
It's true. Actually, the green-white Death and Taxes deck was very susceptible to engineer plague.
on humans.
If he named humans, it's pretty savage. Yeah.
Gotta love this goblin deck list.
Look, guys.
Making use of the creature slot in the deck list and then the spell.
I'm not going to tell
spell
anyone.
slot like kind of blank, but.
So a repeat of these lists, the Chris Osinki deck list, 4 Goblin Lackey, 1 Skirk Prospector, 4 Goblin Pile Driver, 1 Goblin Tinker, 3 Mog War Marshal, 1 Goblin Sharpshooter, 2 Goblin Chieftain, 4 Goblin War Chief, 4 Goblin Matron, 4 Goblin Ringleader, 2 Siege Gang Commander, and at the bottom, 4 Gem Palm Incinerator. I like how this is in a casting cost order, except for the Incinerator, which is kind of a spell here. 4 Aether Vial, and then 22 land.
And it looks like the list was on a lazy Susan when he was writing it. The numbers are turning back and forth. Changing.
I generally would agree. I think that 22 land is a little shy.
God, we can't play.
Wasteland Export.
Yeah. Now, the opponent that he beat in the semis was running 24 land, which seems a little bit closer to, you know, realistic to me. But, I mean, you could maybe push it down a little bit.
When they have ratings of like 19.
One thing I'd like to point about the blue-black merfolk deck that made it this deep, there were a lot of merfolk decks doing well throughout the day, and most of them that we saw had anywhere from like 19 to 20 lands. This list has 21 lands. It has the most lands of any merfolk deck that we've covered, and it happened to make it the deepest. He has 13 blue sources, which to me still seems pretty shy.
Yeah, I'm
but-
saying I still would play
Yeah.
like 22.
No, I agree, but I'm happy that he at least has some land.
I'm pretty sure that Alex, I don't know 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that Alex Bertonisi ran the extra blue source. But I'm not... I wouldn't...
Mishra's Factory today.
He did not, or he did?
He did.
He did, yeah. He ran Mishra's Factory at the event that he did really well with Kyra, the glass spinner, which was, what, about a year ago, I think? Kyra.
He top eighted in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was referring
Okay.
to. Yeah.
MJ from the trees just can't take it. Has to correct someone. Ooh, we are underway.
Okay. Now, I think that very much, always the coin flip or the die roll matters, but this, when you have the aggressive decks versus the aggressive decks, it can make a big difference. Who gets the Aether Vial active first is a big deal.
Should be in the middle of football.
I feel like games 2 and 3 is just going to be big. Engineer play is just so good.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to sneeze about with, I believe, Pyrokinesis right there. Now, Corbin, I
It's not an
overheard...
engineer play.
I overheard him earlier when he found out that he was going to be playing against goblins. He actually seemed very excited to be playing against goblins. So,
That's kind of strange.
you know, I seem to recall Cedric Phillips saying that he felt that the goblins matchup was a good one.
Yeah. Well, for him as a Goblin player, he thought it was good.
Was that the way it was? There was
Yeah.
somebody, I have it backwards then, someone else of note that was well-known. Actually, it was Alex. I think it was Alex that was saying that he felt the goblin matchup was good.
Maybe, but see, Alex says that, you know, his matchups against like this deck are good. He's like, oh, I want to play against Counterbalance all the time, and I point out to him that today, like, we had this conversation a few times where Paulo and I have never lost to a Merfolk deck with Counterbalance.
Right.
And he's like, well, I'll beat all the bad people. And it's like, well, wouldn't you rather be, like, he's a good player. He would rather
Right.
be in Paulo's shoes where he's, like, beating the supposed bad matchups. So it's like, you know, Alex, yeah, he probably wants to play against Goblins. Like, Corbin probably wants to play against Goblins too, but it's like, they're beating the bad people, and it's not, like, an accurate representation of what the matchup actually is.
And we have a turn 1 goblin lackey that, unless the curse catcher comes down, is going to do a lot of work.
Oh,
And a little take backsies.
that's a little sketchy.
I played the
Oh.
island first.
Yeah, that's an island.
Is that the third type of land? Was the first one an underground stage?
No, the first one was
Okay,
islands.
I'm just making sure. I'm like, I'm not sure
I mean,
this
if you
was
give one
the...
take back season, why not give back two?
Let's see it.
Well, this is
One of the two
yeah, this
seed
is
games
an,
came in and play off that lackey.
yeah, so this game looks like it's, you know, Merfolk really does want to play against goblins, you know. Lose a die roll and have them have a lackey. It's just so brutal. I hate losing die rolls against goblins when they have lackey. I just feel like it's just like such a variance game. I always play 4 swords. I always play 4.
Let's just make sure that
Well, we have grizzly bear. Is that going to stop? Is that going to stop all these tokens?
So right now the board, for those of you who can't see it that well, Chris Osinki is stuck on 1 land, but he has 1 mountain, a goblin lackey, and a siege hand commander with its full amount of tokens in play. Corbin Hosler, on the other hand, has 2 lands, an underground sea and an island, with a coral helm commander. And again, this is Jake Van Lunen. I'm here with Adrian Sullivan and Jerry Thompson, and we are in the finals right now of the Star City Games Open Legacy Series in Kansas City.
Right. Now, one of the things that I would be conceiving of right here, if I don't have that second land, I would just be thinking about potentially attacking with every single creature. You know, like, that'd be block the lackey, deal 5, deal 4. I mean, if he just sits there, the lords are going to be building up. That could be just totally crazy, but I mean, life is a resource that matters.
This is strange. Not attacking with the lackey.
I don't really understand.
Yeah, I mean... Okay. There we go. That's 3 damage.
And it's not like he's like burn spells to clear the way for it or anything.
It's only the right play if he has incinerator.
Which is
I mean, that's actually
pretty likely, yeah.
that's a good reason not to attack if he has Incinerator in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty good, actually, because he trades off the Siege Gang, so then his opponent's only going to have 1 creature in play at any time.
So Reedry now facing down 4 1/1s. A land. Oh, Doctor.
Yep.
Incinerate.
Is MJ correct, like always? That is the question.
You just have to ask yourself if like Ellen's player's not, if he's not confident, then don't listen to what I'm saying.
Well, he's
Pile driver.
Yeah, that might actually be better.
Oh, this guy beats me
Yep. Protect from blue. That is
now
the first line of text.
The Mutavault is there to defend, but there is a Rishadan port in play to be able to knock down that Mutavault when that comes up.
Yeah, this is it's an awfully big pile driver right now.
Yeah.
I think I see a second Mutavault.
Now we get to do some Reedry shenanigans.
Silvergill, showing you a Lord of Atlantis, or maybe another Reedry.
He gonna untap some stuff.
I wouldn't have minded, while my opponent was tapped out, casting that Reedry, casting Silvergill, casting Lord of Atlantis, casting, I think, another Lord of Atlantis, instead of making the line of plays that just ended right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he seems overly concerned with having a... Yeah, exactly, having that Mutavault in play when he could just...
Now, if he has a Curse Catcher, he can still get back to that point. A Curse Catcher here will untap
2 lands. It'll actually ritual him up, yeah.
Yeah, but
What?
did not play creatures.
Yeah, that would have been much nicer if there had been the Lord, etc. in play. Aether Vial.
He does have Spell Pierce, but...
Yeah, the top 8 was not given the deck lists of everyone in the competition.
There's the people who have Magic wouldn't be a level playing field. Everybody would have everything.
But you need a deck and a friend.
I'm interested. That's interesting that he wastelanded a non-mutavault there.
Okay. So he lays a second pile driver.
And then play pile driver into potential days rather than having the wasteland.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Like, you should ignore everything I said.
Huh. So I mean, I'm confused because the mutavaults are so important here. It's things that can. It's the only creatures that can block the pile drivers, and using the wasteland on that underground sea seems a little brazen.
Well, I mean, one of the things that can accomplish, if he doesn't think that he can actually get a kill, the extra island could mean that it'd be Lord, you know, it could explode out even more cards at once.
Your pile drivers are protection from blue and deal lethal
Is this going to be
damage.
a third rejury? Oh, goodness.
It does prevent him from exploding this turn, though, right? He doesn't have double blue to play a Lord.
Yeah. No, all it's going to take is an incinerator to start tearing some of this down.
Or a wasteland, which he had already.
He
Yeah.
had a wasteland.
Man, wouldn't it be great if there was a wasteland?
What are you trying to say?
Come on top deck.
So 4, 5. I mean, isn't it lethal anyway? He only has one thing to block. Aren't both pile drivers are attacking for?
Yeah, make sure we don't get up too loud in our volume because there's enough empty space in this room that we don't want to have the competitors over here.
Yeah, no. I think it's no, because they get +3 right for each other taking Gallon or 2.
Plus
2.
two.
Okay. I'm being stupid. Yeah. If it was 3, it'd be exact same. I'm like, oh, he's got it. Dad. The pile driver attacks for 16.
Now, one thing also to think about. We're 11 p.m. here local, which means that these players have been going at it about, was it 13 hours?
Yeah.
13 hours of play in, so play often becomes a little bit less optimal after you've gotten that much time in. Well,
I mean, that's a, you know.
I mean, who doesn't play for 13 hours a day when they play, right? Softies,
work to do.
Sen.
okay. Silver Goat Adept, untapping the 3 land, building up 1 colorless mana, drawing a card.
Ooh, he drew a standstill. Not very good right now.
I think I see 2 standstills in his hand.
So,
He could have just targeted his island multiple times. Just made blue mana.
That's a
no. I mean, both these players made it really deep into this tournament, so, like, they must have been playing well, like, throughout this.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Cedric said that the Merfolk matchup was really good for Goblins was because of pile driver, and now it's just like holding off his team and going to kill him. So, I mean, that's a pretty fair point, but having 4 plagues in your sideboard,
no,
only 3.
Only 3 engineered
That
plays.
is,
You're at 18. I have 1 floating mana, you're at 18.
he's got 2 Jits also.
And interestingly, actually, he has Submerge against a deck with Taiga.
If I was
Submerge is still not that good against Goblins.
Well, I mean, it does something.
Even
You know,
if-
it's better than a Spell Pierce. It's probably better than a Standstill.
Yeah.
Spell Pierce is less than optimal in this matchup.
I mean, he's got 7 cards that are not particularly exciting. in this
Well,
matchup.
Goblins are green, right? So Perish works against them.
These would each be 5.
They're artist green.
I think he's actually using a couple of the red varieties of goblins. Some of those tokens look like they're red.
So you kill the Siege Game tokens. Wasn't the new Rebirth tokens, though?
Yeah, the Koldatha race of goblins is a red race.
I'd say Siege Chain Commander is more of like a jaundice than a green. You know, like.
One thing is that
You can,
once it's a red card and a green.
walk there,
That's the text.
and then you. I have all this to see what next turn.
Now we're doing some math here. What happens if I all in because I'm dead to those 3 pile drivers next turn? I think you still stay dead.
You just
That's actually like really close.
3 pile drivers against purple.
You know, I think if you're definitely dead on the board, you just attack with everything and see if a mistake happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
That's why we have mutable too. Why not? I go like land, Murphle, untapped, mutable.
Yeah, there we go. There, everybody's in. Okay, what? There we go. With 3 lords in play, the Mutavault
18.
is 5-10 damage coming in. Not nearly enough to kill.
Okay.
Chris, 8.
And
I will pass the turn back to you.
Very, very dead on this one back.
maybe he'll F6 by accident.
Yeah, cracker fest
So,
in the beginning of combat stuff.
yeah, that'll do it. At least he did in one
Still
motion.
had
That's
all
nice.
these. There's a Lord of Atlantis that, as was pointed out, with proper stacking, could have been in play.
If you want to get tight, it's like negative.
Also, the
The person who lost just still have all these then? Read the Lord.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah, that's a whole new take.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I like
I don't know if
that.
Sam Black would be proud of that one.
Oh,
I think
that
it's
was.
safe to say since he won,
So what do we got coming in here? We got Pyrokinesis,
It's definitely the Pyro.
probably some Crossing Grips, probably anticipating those plagues.
guys,
Sting Scourger and well, Vortusk Liege gets her own plague too, so maybe that has to come in.
like really, if you didn't have the
Yeah.
Goblin Warrior Pig.
Yeah, he rides on a pig, and Vortex rides on the pig, and he gets all the other goblins so pumped up that they actually get bigger. And like some of the goblins are maniacs, so they actually get even bigger than the other goblins. You know, so.
Oh boy. On the other side of the table, it's probably going to be 2 Umezawa's Jit, 3 Engineered Plague, and then potentially Submerges, just because we have 3 Spell Pierce and 4 Standstill, which look pretty close to being garbage.
Agreed.
And that's a good 7 cards in, 7 cards out. Now, alternatively, if you are really, really crazy, you know, you could bring in your Nature's Rune to hit your own Aether Vial for a 4-point life gain, but...
No, that's
Yeah.
Nature's Claim. Nature's
Oh,
Ruin.
Nature's Ruin, my
Nature's
bad.
Ruin is another parish.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Thank you.
I think you're starting in like Submerged Jit Plague, 7 in, 7 out. Seems fun.
Yeah, I don't think Submerge is necessarily that good.
Submerge seems actually quite bad against goblins. I've brought it in against goblins before, thinking, oh, this card's probably better than this card. It's my main, and it was just mediocre.
So we keep
but
in,
I mean,
what, maybe a couple of Spell Pierces to potentially stop Pyrokinesis?
I don't know if I could ever keep Spell Piercing against goblins
I
and
think you
keep
just try and
happy.
gin it with Standstill.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean,
That would be good as a play. They don't take out like.
they have vials still. Like,
what's your control like?
it's a good point.
Because you have Vortusk Liege, duh.
Oh yeah, when you have Vortex Lead Jack, then you did
Watching our games?
So we're going on to game 2 of the finals right now. Chris Osinki, playing Goblins, is up a game. Corbin Hosler, playing Blue-Black Merfolk. His main deck is the exact same as Saitos. He is down a game right now. We are watching a post-sideboard game now. This is going to favor Corbin that we're going to another game because he has Engineered Plague in his sideboard, which is extraordinarily good in this matchup. Of course, Chris could always just draw really well again. The pile drivers just showed how good they are.
I'm not even
And
gonna get close. I'm not even gonna get
you know,
close.
a deck with
A
mana.
decent amount of ways to fight through play.
Because if he ultimately, like, if you draw and then just, like, if you pass a turn and then scoop before he does it, that doesn't count. He still got you, but you gotta scoop.
They did used to play Patron, some of them.
Sonny did it in the
You gotta be during their upkeep the turn they would be able to do it because they can't activate you guys.
I know, but like that's just
Yes.
scoop like a man.
Also no
Or you
matrix
just
for
play
it.
it out. Like,
I think that's why he probably ran 3 of those patrons.
I actually saw someone with their Jason.
I have one through Jason.
Though to be fair, one of the things I seem to, and maybe my memory is false, but I seem to recall his opponent in a Goblin Mirror pyroing, and him responding by patroning.
Now, one thing that is very interesting here is that the
Right, instant.
like Engineer Plague is a very powerful card, but as we've seen, almost every match that we've seen Engineer Plague get sided in, we've seen the player who had the Engineer Plague just not be able to cast it. And again, Corbin's deck only has 11 ways to get black mana. He has the fetch lands and the underground seas, and he only has 21 lands. So, like, it's very conceivable that he draws one of the 3 plagues and just doesn't have black mana to cast it. Yeah, third land is actually pretty tough to come by when you're playing 21 lands. So.
Is it like destroy all goblins? Is that what it's-
Who needs land when you've got Silver Goliath and Aether
Michael
Vial?
Jacob, would you find a way to play Brainstorm and Merfolk?
No, I tried. It was terrible.
Okay.
Engineer Plague?
Or like 16.
Even with a bunch of fetch lands, a bunch of lands.
It's not the game we played.
I definitely kept Corbin.
No, I only need Oracle text for Florida.
I can tell you
It's
that. I
not
know
quite
it's
the same thing. Brainstorm is Brainstorm.
still not shit.
Yeah, like Nazgo's free.
I've been asking people.
You are
They're dueling. I'm like, is that the green bread?
No, no.
Actually, he
And
did
like, it's not even a joke.
Brainstorm
It's
and
like, all my contacts
this
can't
weekend.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
I saw
Actually,
it.
in a feature match today.
We saw it in
yeah.
a feature match. It's been recorded.
That guy was really happy.
No.
Yeah.
Go 3 cards.
Asking him what
You
his
don't
duel
use your next 2 draws now.
What happens
Okay,
to the 3
so,
terrible cards that are in my hand?
Let's see if Corbin keeps his hand.
Your brainstorms, you didn't draw one of your sets.
Well, one bad.
Is it like
Yeah,
the
7.
By that point again, you get 7.
Entomb, Careful Study, 10 fetch lands, and
Yeah, you couldn't cast the Entomb. You had Curse Catchers.
See, so here we're seeing Corbin looks on an opening hand without any colored
Is there
mana,
a butt?
which
there
is
a caveat
one of the
to
big
that?
problems
Or
with
what's
the
Well,
Merfolk
you
deck.
got 8 of them.
Do something.
He does have a plague. I
he
mean, it's
doesn't have
pretty.
any lands, does he?
He doesn't have a vial. Oh, he does have a vial.
I'm going to rip like
Huh? I mean, if he has this vial, if he wants to trust it, he could keep it. I'm confused now. Did so Corbin chose to keep that. He kept a hand with no colored mana,
Play poker.
and when his opponent mulliganed, he actually seemed frustrated and upset with himself.
sports, so I couldn't work, so I would just go to play poker with the rich kids.
Well, his opponent seemed frustrated, that as if his mulligan decision would have been correct if his opponent had kept his hand. That's an important lesson to learn, is that when you're making your mulligan decision, it doesn't necessarily matter if your opponent is mulliganing or not, unless they're keeping a full grip in a game where they're
Send it back, go to 5.
I like someone trying to keep like these 4 land, like 2 swords, and like just what could he possibly have?
Here, Michael Jacob is explaining to us that he keeps extremely loose hands when his opponent's mulligan, and as somebody who's always complaining about losing to people who he considers worse than him,
5, all right?
Is that what it is? It's a port. Okay, I know what the port does.
so Chris Osinki has poor in play.
Starts going on here.
Yeah, both of them led off with a colorless land. It's gonna be interesting. We have Vial going up to 1. I think he may or may not have a Curse Catcher in hand.
Yeah, let's run that thing.
Wow, that is surprising to me.
Is that off the top of the deck?
He used the Wasteland when he had no lands in play.
We could have played no lands.
Yeah, it didn't have a 1-drop either for the Vial.
Draw.
Might just wasteland. There's an evil on the outside.
No, the other way around.
He's just a ninja.
Yeah, the guy with the Vial.
Want to make sure that
I mean, here we're seeing now the plague is not going to it's very unlikely that he's going to be able to cast a play this game because of the mana base of the deck.
Corbin, you have the list for the Time Spiral deck? I would like to see that.
Not here.
We should put that up somewhere. Pretty cool deck. Emrakul is the win condition. Seems like superior to everything else. Like instead of like stroking people, you just hard cast an Emrakul.
I will bash your face. I am not winning the race. That's right.
You do not look happy right now.
I bash it.
Yeah, I'll get it for you. Assuming it's not mine.
It's probably not.
Chris is at 19.
Remember that? Remember the time he did that? Remember that time he did that in the finals twice?
I'm actually somewhat surprised too that he ended up getting the basic island. I guess. You know what though? The basic island I guess is just starkly better than that. No, it's not because he has all the colorless lands. I'm really surprised he didn't get an Underground Sea. The Plague is powerful enough. That not really worth playing around.
I don't know. I think at this point he thinks he's so far ahead that he's only going to lose if
He gets like
wasted. Yeah, like he has Vial going and he gets to
Well, that
all these things. If he gets to start vialing and casting cards.
He looks like he just drew his second island out of 2.
And it does look like he kept in some number of spell pierces too.
Where you kept his filters?
Could be Pyrokinesis, could be Vial because he was on the play.
No, that's not the same thing.
Thinks he's going to have one of the 6 islands.
Well, you're
If they're tapped out, they cast a Goblin or War Chief for a Chieftain and then attack.
If they're going to be like doing that stuff, like why don't you just do that before they got or whatever?
This is fair.
I mean, card's not a sorcery.
This is fair.
Yeah, but I would never put myself in a position to have needed Pyrokinesis. Without, I mean, I'm tapped mana.
I mean, they play like 2 lords in their turn. You're not going to try and Pyrokinesis away a lord and like 2 adepts.
No, never. I do it on my turn, but I'm not going to find a better target.
Here we go. Pyrokinesis. And that's when a lord comes into play. I think we might actually have the exact situation that Jerry Thompson brought up in retort to Michael Jacobs saying, I would never get in that position.
Use this island.
Spell Pierce.
I think this is right. Pretty sure that's
Remember when I
right.
was saying how you made good use of the creature column in the deck list? Spell Pierce. Oddly enough, says non-creature. Well, get him this game.
the third one.
3. Oh, he has another spell. There's another card.
Oh my god!
What? Why does it matter?
I told you I kept the monster hand against them.
What's the fucking monster?
Okay. So, empty hand. A single pile driver faces down a single Coral Helm commander.
Does it say each other?
So our Goblin player is playing off the top, it looks like.
Okay, so he was attacking with 2 adepts.
I don't have no cards. I just did it because it was
pile driver to block. You need to block, hit tree, untap.
I'm gonna read-
Spell Pierce and days.
No.
So
I'm gonna read all of these. This is great.
I know.
This is the first person I played all day who has to read my cards.
But MJ, he had 3 pyrokineses.
It's not a joke.
He had 3.
I will talk that play God. Second of all, if I did play God, 17.
Goblins is in the finals.
I'm playing Ben Whiteberg.
I played Ben Weinberg.
You said that if you knew that your tiebreakers were that poor, that you would have conceded to him. Which it was.
Yeah, he just.
So you can't blame him if you were going to concede to him. That's all I'm
So
saying.
currently what's going on is Chris Osinki has no cards left in his hand after pitching them all to those Pyrokinesis.
One shot triple.
His board is 3 mountains and a Goblin Pile Driver. Corbin Hosler is
Hey, that's your 3 sideboard cards, right?
in solid control of this game. He has a Vial in play alongside 2 islands and a Coralhelm commander. It looks very much in Corbin's favor right now. He can use the Vial to put creatures into play and then just use his lands to level up his commander. His opponent really doesn't have anything. It's like when your opponent keeps a hand with like multiple Force of Wills and then doesn't pitch the forces to the forces. It's a similar situation to what's going on right now.
To be fair, he only used 6 cards to get rid of 3, so it wasn't a total loss.
Yeah, Silver Girl Adepts aren't really cards.
You know, I guess I don't agree with that way of counting cards. It's already gotten its card. It's on the table. So. Oh, Umezawa's Jit.
Did you card?
You may have read it
I'm actually surprised, dude.
Like, yeah, you prioritize my 4 rosemary, so like it's sweet.
Red, green.
Yeah, its card as its value, it doesn't have very much value, but it's still a card. It makes for a more consistent
not a
way of
4 for
understanding
1.
how the game works.
I don't. Yeah, but it's not like an accurate way of understanding how the game works.
I'm not saying that. That's not my point.
I'm just saying, you know, it's like you just let him have it, then he attacks, you like block the Lord, you're 2/2, kills.
What I was saying was the 2 Lord situation, where they have a Lord and they play another one, and like combat's going to be really bad, and now you can't do it to both.
Oh, that wasn't even.
I want to go.
And the cup.
He's playing the first one and attacking for 6 when he had Pile Driver. Yeah, you could have just taken 3
here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, if I would have knew we were playing for the cup, I probably wouldn't have did all that. But
Here we go. We have Wasteland came down for
I
Corbin.
mean, if it's the right play the first time, it's probably the right
What did
play.
they remove? Did they remove like a playable card?
A ringleader and something else. Ringleader, matron.
I mean, I think that's fair.
So it looks like the
He
plan here.
removed a ringleader.
Yep.
'Cause- okay,
Level
so
up,
for all of you at
make a
home who
flyer.
play Goblin decks, it's normally a good idea to hold on to cards, especially cards like Ringleader, before you use the Pyrokinesis. People who aren't familiar with sideboarding them that often may not know this, but if you can just take that 3 damage and just block with the Pile Driver, then what happens is, like, you have, what is it? The Pyrokinesis has a lot more value after you Ringleader because you have all these extra cards in your hand that are expendable. And the Ringleader is like worth so many cards that it's really like disadvantageous to you to just throw them away. Yes,
That,
very true. Yeah.
That game is now over. We're on to game 3. A
Flyer.
Coralhelm
Key.
Coralhelm commander racing a single Pile Driver.
Who's getting home land ever? No, not at all.
Yeah, I believe the Goblin player had a huge advantage that game. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, what else am I gonna do with these fucking things? I don't have land.
Magic.
I can't play nothing in my hand.
Yes.
I got Pyrokinesis.
You can't make those time
Against
unless you're playing
AJ,
Battlefield,
that was
you can't make mistakes like that.
the only play that trumped that was running Lord of Atlantis.
I got a good night's sleep.
So you're saying the better player typically wins in Standard?
I actually think more games are won and lost in Legacy based on play skill than any other
I
format
totally agree with that.
constructed.
I mean, if you consider skill points the deck choice, there's
I think that's a part of that.
No, I'm talking about like
But in
actually
play,
just
in
talking
play.
about play skill, like actual gameplay.
I mean, I definitely have seen a lot of matches.
Do I think
that
it's
have
the
been
most
lost.
skill-intensive format, though? No, because I think as far as like deck choice goes, I think a format like Extended is like much more dynamic. Well,
Wait,
actually,
repeat that again.
right now Extended is really just fairies, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna play fairies. It's just. But I like playing fairies because it's a fun deck. You get to play mirrors, you know, it's skill-intensive.
And then, like,
You get to play all in very skill intensive. Every other deck has to have like these sorceries.
And you're supposed to have 3 years. It's not smart.
Creatures.
But I guess if you could like get married, give her the money, have her give you back money.
One of the things that Chris Osinki is happy to share with his opponent is that he is playing goblins. He tells the people on his sleeves.
So-
Whereas his other opponent had island sleeves, trying to be sneaky. When that was
Julian?
Julian had the island sleeves.
Yeah, this. Hello, folks. This is Jacob Van Lunen. I'm here with Adrian Sullivan and Jerry Thompson. and a one Michael Jacob. We are currently watching Game 3 of the finals. This is the Legacy Open in Kansas City. StarCityGames.com has run these great events all weekend. We had a great standard event yesterday. I was really excited about that red-white deck. I thought it was really well positioned for the tournament.
Did a great
I
job.
was
Looked like it was really
very early on.
well selected.
Yeah, very early on in the tournament, I thought that aggressive decks were going to be a great choice yesterday. I thought that the tournament would probably be taken home by some type of red deck or black-red vampires, something like that. So seeing something like Burros, like the pinnacle of aggression in the format, was really, really cool.
I know that when I see Jerry Thompson attacking with 2-drops, I pay attention to the concept of the attack phase in a format, because Jerry, as most people know, is not really into attacking.
I think I get a bad rap.
Well, I mean, you've said vocally many times that attacking is dumb.
It is, but I mean, sometimes it's strategically superior, and a lot of people.
Here, we should follow this game. This is the final.
Totally,
all right, Chris Osinki leads off on the play. He has a turn 1 lackey. It's about the strongest card you could have on turn 1 in that type of deck. Now, if Corbin doesn't have Curse Catcher here on the first turn, then he's in a pretty rough spot.
Now, one of the things that happened in the first game is just being repeated here. That turn 1 Goblin Lackey, which has so few responses from the opponent, and it could just be the end of the game on turn 2 once again.
Yeah, I mean, he needs a Force of Will or a Curse Catcher.
Well, it's tough. He has the Force, but he also has an Engineered Plague. So he kind of wants him to overextend so that when he plays Plague, he actually gets to kill things.
I mean, Plague's really good against the Goblin deck to the extent that you don't even really need to kill things. You just kind of need to survive.
So I enjoy the price.
Right.
Lucky's not going to do much if he actually has 3 lands and the Plague, right? Yeah. So like he's
Two Chieftains and 1 Vortex.
There's Chieftains and War Chief. Yeah.
So he does have a Curse Catcher and the Force of Will.
He was afraid of the Incinerator?
Or Pyrokinesis.
Corbin 19.
I agree with this Force here. I mean, he doesn't have the Plague. If you don't have a Plague and you don't force that turn 1, then
I thought he did have a Plague.
I did not see a Plague. He's deciding when he's going to remove.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a Plague, there's no way he can risk him having a jump home.
Yep. I am now equal to you. Go ahead.
Okay. We are 18 minutes, it looks like, into this match.
Did he remove a card for Force of
He
Will?
removed a Rejury.
Okay.
So, Corbin Hosler removed a Marrow Rejury to cast Force of Will. Now, Corbin is cracking a fetch land. He is going to cast the Curse Catcher that he just drew.
No, Aether Vial.
Oh.
Aether Vial is coming to play. We didn't see
There's
that
a
in his
vial.
hand earlier. The shuffling around that the Magic players often do.
Equal again. It's heavy though. You might want to radio. You might want to radio.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, some people just like to curve out.
So Chris Osinki has a second land this time around. And
there is a... Wow. I haven't seen this guy in play in a long time. That is a Goblin Tinker.
huh.
As a 1/2, that guy can eat up Aether Vials all day long. What happens with the Goblin Tinker, for those of you who don't know, you can spend 1 red and tap it to destroy an artifact, and then it takes damage equal to the casting cost of that artifact.
The picture on that's pretty good.
This is a card, I mean, I don't think I've seen this played in a Magic tournament since maybe about 1999.
Yeah, it's like Vishino Heretic, right? Similar.
Heretic is a little bit better, though, because Heretic deals the damage to the person that owns the artifact, whereas Tinker deals the damage to himself.
He eats up files.
Oh my god. Nice Sundering Titan.
Last time I should have died. Well, I guess he could
Julian's list is just all 4-0s.
Just that little small split.
Free war.
have. That one doesn't have protection. My deck doesn't.
I don't know what kind of.
So now we have, this is turn 2. Corbin just played a second land. The Aether Vial is now up to 1 counter. And let's see what Corbin has for us this turn.
He's got a Cold Home Commander, he's got a Lord of Atlantis in his hand, and either of those is, you know, a powerful card to drop on the table.
Yeah, the Coral Home Commander is just like a really good card in this matchup. It flies, it can constantly beat. If Chris doesn't develop quickly, then he's in a pretty bad spot.
That is a War Chief.
That is in fact a War Chief.
Let's make sure we know what that card does. It's a very good card.
Wishes it was cheap then.
And I mean, he's not going to offer the trade. The War Chief is far too important for his deck.
That's how you put $2,000.
There's some players who might have swung in that spot.
Turn late.
Missed by some spot.
So,
We did have a Curse Catcher at some point, right? Do we still have that?
Maybe we missed some of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no way he doesn't remove first catcher to the force world.
yeah.
I think we just must have misseen what we thought we saw there.
Yeah, I did not know about the vial, so maybe I misread the card. Right now, for those of you who can't see the cards too well on your screen, Chris Osinki has 3 mountains, a Goblin Tinkerer, and a Goblin War Chief in play. Goblin Tinkerer costs 1 and a red. You can tap 1 red and tap it to destroy target artifact, and it deals damage equal to the artifact's converted casting cost to itself. Corbin has an Aether Vial in play with 1 counter on it. He has a Coral Home Commander, a Wasteland, and 2 islands.
It looks like that Coral Home Commander is about to become a little bit stronger. Maybe level 3?
Yeah,
Tapped out, level 3 Coral Home Commander.
and that's pretty good. I'm surprised. This Aether Vial is only on 1, it looks like.
I got 3. They're good ones.
And it is his second turn. He has a few 2-drops in hand. Perhaps he forgot to take it up at the beginning of his turn.
You remove first catcher to the force world.
Okay.
When,
Okay, now that's a really interesting play. Corbin just attacked, which means that the War Chief can come back, attack. Now there is a vial in play, but the vial, I only see 1 counter on it. It should have 2 counters on it, but that means that there's nothing too particularly scary that can come out to threaten that War Chief and its friends from making a big attack here.
yeah, I mean, if he wants to see if there is anything, he can just tap his Tinkerer.
It does take a red.
I mean, but now that he's a War Chief, he still has enough mana left over to, like, Ringleader or something absurd. It's not like he's a deck with things like...
It's very possible if they were.
He doesn't have Prospector, does he? He doesn't have, like, any way to, like, just go off and win right now?
He has a Skirk Prospector, 1 Skirk Prospector.
So I guess you could ring later,
Get there.
and win here.
Yeah. Skirk Prospector. It's an amazing card. Oh, it looks like he has actually another Goblin War Chief and a Goblin Matron. So he can play the War Chief for 2, and then he can start casting Matrons for 1, which is pretty unreal. Or he's going to pay 2 and cast a Ringleader. Pretty good.
Next turn we can matron. Yeah. Pile driver dead.
Force of Will.
What do you have, man?
16.
Is that first of all? What's going on? Where's the Ringleader?
Yeah, countered by forcible.
Okay.
Yeah, Force of Will was tossed.
You know, I'm confused about the Ringleader being in play.
There we go.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
that's better.
Is that 5 damage?
Alright, Corbin's going to take a chunk. He's going down to 11.
Yeah, I got 1.
I definitely don't think I like that attack with that Coral Hum Commander.
He's probably thinking he's gonna like drop order lands with Petty in his hand and attack
Also got elevation.
8 next turn, thinking he has to be in chump mode. Might actually even kill him.
It searches my deck.
Playing that Underground
or
Sea
playing that
might be a
Underground Sea
little.
did no favors for him there.
Yeah, it's pretty scary because if you draw that Underground Plague and your opponent has Wastelanded the Underground Sea, you're gonna kick yourself. At this point, it doesn't look like it's overly relevant.
Destroying their video coverage.
Totally against
Why is he showing him that he has a matron?
Actually, he's allowed to reveal his hidden information. You are allowed to do that. As long as he isn't gaining any hidden information, he's not going to.
Does he have no cards in hand?
No, he's a daze.
Gets pile driver. Puts pile driver.
I mean, he still has a card in his hand. I don't understand. Why is this happening? So right now we're seeing a little bit of play that's a little loose. It's clearly very late here. These players may know each other well, but they're being very friendly. Right now, Chris just Corbin asked how Goblin Matron read, and Chris showed him his last card in hand, a Goblin
We
Matron.
are almost 14 hours into a tournament, and if you have been in a 14-hour tournament, I mean, just go listen to a lot of the different coverage that's happened for Grand Prix and for Pro Tours, and listen to the top players in the game talk about how at the end of days like that, there's just not much left in you sometimes. You know, you're playing on just what's left in your brain, and there's sometimes just not anything left in there.
That's why I'm always on autopilot.
Yeah, Patrick Chapin, I remember saying fairly recently, said that he only wants to make 2 or 3 decisions a game because he doesn't have the energy to keep it up for a whole day. You know, if he can just make 2 or 3 decisions, then he's fine. That is a
Playing Matron, only cost 1. It's pretty good.
Wow. Matron into Incinerator. Our pile driver is pretty good too. I think I liked Incinerator a little bit better.
I'm gonna enter my attack as pile driver.
Well, this just kills him, right?
Oh, I thought he didn't need another mana. I didn't catch that right. The 2 War Chiefs tricked me.
Okay.
So currently, Chris Osinki is attacking with a pair of Goblin War Chiefs, a Goblin Tinkerer, a Goblin Pile Driver, and a Goblin Matron. And that's the match. Chris Osinki is our Star City Games Open Series Legacy Kansas City champion.
Excellent.
Congratulations to Chris Osinki.
Game 1, Goblin Head,
Congratulations, Chris.
In game 1, you had an opportunity to actually just play out your hand with the one blue.
I shouldn't
You
have
had each of your
won.
injuries
I
targeted
shouldn't have made top 8.
in response to them.
Probably shouldn't
and
have made top 6.
Okay. This is Adrian Sullivan with Star City Games Live.